How's it going there, Uncivil Revolt? BMAC is back on Skype with another great interview lined up. And let me tell you, this guy has been really, I've been following him ever since he was on American Idol, who basically told people to give metal a chance. And I was rooting for him all the way. But damn it, he didn't win. But you know what? I still root for him every day. He's a champion for metalheads out there who says it's okay to be a metalhead and you don't have to, like, be a country guy to be a great singer. No offense, Scott McCreery. So he just signed with Frontier Records, which is pretty exciting. He's got a new album coming out after 2 albums with Quiet Riot, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So please help me welcome the Asperger rock star hero that I love, Mr. James Durbin. How you doing, James?
Please keep it down. Save it for the end. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I actually just got off work, and now I am talking with you, so I'm very excited.
Good day.
Yeah, very good day. So I guess first question is how you've been doing overall with this pandemic happening. I mean, it's got to interfere. It's got to interfere with your live music performances, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. It's I can't wait to get back into playing and playing out and get the bands back out and get the bands back together and everything. And 2020 was already starting to pick up steam and had a bunch of gigs booked and looking forward to a really, really great year. And then suddenly, like, I was literally packing my stuff to go play a gig and it got canceled the day that, everything went into place, March 14th, 2020. So it's been a lot to, to get used to and to figure out. But yeah, been doing all right. Been doing good.
Yeah, the last show that I saw was actually in March, and it was when Dragon Force was playing with Visions of Atlantis and Unleash the Archers at the Region in LA. I never thought that would be my last show because I had a lot of great shows coming up.
Yeah, our last show we saw was it was like a week late. I feel like it was a couple days later. It was Shooter Jennings, one of Waylon Jennings' sons.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Great show. Real interesting and like a Americana kind of outlaw country, dark kind of stoner rock. It was cool. Really cool show.
Yeah, he's obviously following in his father's footsteps, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Good for all of us, too.
Because Waylon Jennings was one of the original outlaw countrymen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does a good job in it. He definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So obviously, in case people need a refresher course, how exactly did you come into becoming a singer? What drew you into doing that as a career?
Well, I grew up doing theater, and so just the idea of being on stage and being above the audience, that was one thing. But then once you get up there and you realize that, oh, okay, you are in charge of swaying people's emotions, with the performance, especially in theater when you're portraying another character. And, you're putting on their persona, their characteristics and everything. And you completely blur the lines of who you are. Who you are doesn't matter. And at that point, I didn't like me. I didn't want to be me. So it was nice to be able to have the opportunity to play others. And then singing just went along with it. I've always sung, and singing has always been something that I've done. And then knowing that, like, oh, you can make, if you're lucky enough to get the whatever opportunity it is, build a band, build a following in that way, or then, American Idol or, one of the TV shows is another route to doing it, which has its its pros and cons, just like doing it the old grassroots way as well. So but yeah, it's something.
Yeah. We're not going to go too much into American Idol, but I just want to ask you, like, going back into, like, your audition when you were going in front of, Steven Tyler, J-Lo, and
Randy.
isn't it?
Randy.
Yeah, Randy. What were the emotions like going through your head when you were about to walk in and try to see if you could convince them to come to go to Hollywood?
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, looking back on it, I was just very humbled to be there and humbled to get the chance. But I can't remember exactly what was going through my head. I was just kind of like, freaked out and like, oh my God, I'm really here. And oh my God, Steven Tyler's right on the other side of that curtain. And then they broke for lunch and Steven walks by and I just see him like, oh, and he just comes over to me. I'm just like smiling, just my jaw dropped, just like, ah, and he's like, hey, look at that smile. Hey, look at you, man. And he comes over and he grabs my arm and looks at my tattoo and asks me about my tattoo. And it's my son's name. And then talked to Randy for a second because we have mutual friends. It's just funny. Yeah, it just really put me at ease. And it was really nice that that's the way that it happened. And I was supposed to be like the next person to audition. And then they took a break for lunch and they had to let the judges walk by us first because we were just the lowly hopefuls to be contestants. So it's pretty cool how things work out that way.
Yeah, I mean, just to have a little moment with Steven before you go into an audition, I mean, that really gives you a boost in confidence that you're going to feel like, okay, I can do this.
Right, exactly. And which it did. It was perfect.
Yeah. And just one more question about American Idol. Looking through all the song lists that you have, of course, You Got Another Thing Coming. Thank you, by the way, for playing that. Maybe I'm Amazed, Living for the City, Stevie Wonder, Elton John, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Looking out through the song choices that you picked, depending on the week it was, if you had to go back and choose a different song for the week that you did, can you remember like what song you originally did for that week and what would you change it to?
Probably would have been the last night that I sang. We did songs
That inspire.
Yeah, songs that inspire and the Lieber and Stoller catalog. I would have kept the Lieber and Stoller, but I probably would have changed the songs that inspire from Don't Stop Believin' to something else.
Oh, well, personally, I feel like Don't Stop Believing was a good performance, but I think if you had to pick a song that was inspirational, well, I personally would probably go with Arms Wide Open by Creed. There's just something about that song that really lifts my spirits.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, I was looking at possibly doing Queen's The Show Must Go On.
Oh, that would have been my choice then. Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now off of American Idol, let's go on to your brand new record that you got out under your new band name Durbin, and of course it's from Frontier Records, and it's called The Beast Awakens, and that's a great title. So tell us a little bit about the recording process for this album. What did you do different?
Oh, everything was different. I wrote all the songs myself and demoed them, and then sent my demo tracks off to my drummer Mike Vanderhule, who played his drum takes, his drum performances to my demos, and then we mixed those into the demos, very light mix, rough mix, and then sent those to my bass player Barry Sparks, who played his bass parts, and then we did a rough mix of those, and then brought those into the studio where we took out my rhythm guitars and vocals and everything and recut all of those. So it was very unconventional, instead of starting with drums from scratch and a click and really getting the feel there. It's like I really already had the feel that I was wanting on the songs from my demos. So we just used those as a blueprint and worked from there.
Yeah, what a great list of songs that you got here. Very, very 80s vibe. And it's got a power metal feel to it as well, from like the Prince of Metal to Evil Eye and the Sacred Mountain. I've only gotten through halfway through the album, but I can't wait to check Necromancer, which I believe is an homage to Evil Dead, right?
No, it's just I was writing it and was trying to think of another obstacle for the main character to face, and what better obstacle than a sorcerer that raises the dead. And I had this riff. The riff of the song it's just so evil sounding, and I was reading Tolkien at the time, and he writes about Gandalf was, Gandalf, where were you? And something about, I was off in the outer realms, taking care of a necromancer. And I was like, necromancer? and I like the cadence of it and the phonetics of it, and what's that called, the syllables, and I thought to myself, I was thinking about it, and I could hear Ozzy Osbourne saying in my head, "But I don't fear the necromancer," and took it, took off running with it.
Yeah, I think the only thing he fears is Sharon.
Yes, we should all fear Sharon.
Oh, for sure. Don't cross her. Otherwise, you will never get backstage with Ozzy.
No, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah. So the title of The Beast Awakens, why'd you settle for that title? What does Beast Awakens mean to you? Does it mean that you're laying the beast out within you when it comes to your singing? Or did you take it from like something from a fantasy novel or something?
Well, it was from the song title, the title track. It was the first song of the album that I really wrote, of the songs that are included on the album. It was the first one, and I just feel like it really speaks for itself in that way, of like, oh, wow, that just happened. This is the first song that I wrote for the album, so this is like this is that stepping stone. This is setting the bar, and I can't go under the bar. I have to keep pushing the bar and raising the bar and raising the bar, and it's just kind of about like a beast awakening in that sense. It could kind of be seen as evil, but the lyric says light will still appear when the beast awakens, and though it's my own beast awakening from within, it's not necessarily with an evil connotation, because I'm a very positive person. So it's putting a new spin on that, I guess.
And that's a good way of thinking. And you also got in some great guest guitarists in there who dropped in some good solos, including John Yaden Jr., Mark Putman, Dylan Rose, and of course the great Phil Demmel, who's on the Prince of Metal with the Ayatollah of Rock and Roll Lodge, Chris Jericho. How the hell did you get those two on that song?
Yeah, it's crazy. They're on Kings Before You. When I was writing Kings Before You, I knew that I wanted guests on it. I just felt like out of all the songs on the record, if I was going to have guests, this would be the song to get them on. And I'd always wanted to get Chris on a song. We've been friends for about 10 years. Friends from afar, just text friends. And have seen each other on numerous occasions and gotten on stage and played together and stuff. But I've always kept in touch, Christmas cards and that sort of thing. I've watched his kids grow up. It's crazy. Through Christmas cards once a year. I texted him and said, if you were to hypothetically sing on a concept album, classic heavy metal album, what kind of character would you want to play? And he said either a villain, of course, or a wizard. And I was like, hey, I just wrote a song about a wizard. Listen to the wizard song.
And he became your Merlin.
Listen to it. Huh?
And he became your Merlin.
In a sense, yeah. He became my my theoretical wizard. So that was great. And then I knew Phil Demmel through Chris, as we both got up on stage with Fozzy in San Francisco a couple years ago and played AC/DC's Thunderstruck. And so I just thought that Phil would be a great addition, and hit him up, and he was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm a free agent. I play on whatever I want. So he listened to it, and there was something there that sparked his interest, and he put his solo into there as well.
Yeah, and he kills it on there. And I just wanted to correct myself and say, yes, I meant Kings Before You. Excuse me for mixing the songs up.
No worries. It happens.
Yeah, I know. You also work with an alternative indie guy in Nick Gallant. What made you want to work with him?
Nick Gallant is one of my. He's a good friend of mine. He lives out here in Santa Cruz, and all the guitar players that I got on the record, aside from Phil Demmel, are all friends. So between Nick Gallant and Nick played, he played a bunch of guitar stuff and vocals for the old Guitar Hero games and Rock Band, and so he's comes from that rock metal upbringing, and but I know him more through like singer-songwriter kind of acoustic Jack Johnson-y country stuff too, which is what we play together. So it's fun to remind myself that like, oh, Nick's got like some serious chops, and so I sent him the song for Prince of Metal and said, would you put a solo here? And he was like, yeah, I'll see if I can figure something out. And then he just sends back this perfect solo that's just tailor made for the song, and I couldn't imagine the song being released with any other solo in it. Dylan Rose, Dylan I've known since I was a teenager. We're not much there's not much of an age difference between us, but he was my first guitar player after Idol. I took him on the road with my James Durbin solo band, and he's plays a few solos on my first album, Memories of a Beautiful Disaster. He plays on Higher Than Heaven and Crawling Home, Screaming. Yeah, he's kind of all over that. And Mark Putnam has been with me. He's been my guitar player since 2015, 2016. He's all over my Riot on Sunset album, and he's the guitarist that I play with the most. Phenomenal player, very humble guy too. Just a joy to be around. And John Yaden Jr. is an old friend of mine that used to live here in my hometown here in Santa Cruz, and moved to Texas, and has a band out there in Austin called Trine. And I randomly saw that he like commented on a post of mine on Instagram, and I went and looked at his page, and I was like, John Yaden Jr., this is crazy. What have you been up to? And he's got all these killer guitar videos, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're incredible. Would you want to play on some songs? And John ended up playing on, half the album.
Well, that's cool. I can't wait to listen to the rest of it and get a better sense of what he's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So obviously, also people know that you actually did 2 albums with Quiet Riot, and of course, recently we lost Frank Benelli to cancer, which is really sad because I actually got to interview him a year before his passing, so that was really hard to swallow because he was such a gentleman, and he was such a cool guy, real down to earth, and he was a fighter all the way through. Looking back on your time with Quiet Riot, what would you say was your best experience with those guys?
Just playing the shows, just being out there and getting the guys out of their hotel rooms to go hang out and do things. They'd been on tour, and they'd been playing these shows and doing these tours and everything, with like the same group of guys for such a long time. And I don't like to just sit in my room. I like to kind of go out and see what I can find. And because I'm younger and I've got younger interests and that sort of thing, if there's an arcade across the street, and go-karts, I'm totally going, and I'm going to be like, guys, there's go-karts across the street. Let's go race go-karts. Let's go play skee ball. Let's like go collect tickets and get Tootsie Rolls, and so like, and then we'll go to the bar. Yay. Okay. Everybody's happy. But we did, and, getting those guys out of their rooms, and Frankie leaving all of us in the dust on the go-kart track, and celebrating Frankie's birthday with him in Mexico. And I started like vlogging, and did a couple episodes of a vlog and put those on my YouTube channel, just us like in the thicket of it, like touring and just all that stuff. So definitely like just those good solid memories of just, spending time together as people, not necessarily like business and band and music and work kind of related stuff, but just like hanging out with some dudes and, making good memories.
Yeah. So just asking, obviously when you left, there was no animosity between you guys, right?
No, it was just, we just couldn't come to a business agreement to continue. And I just felt like I had more to offer, to my own music. And, I wanted to do it as long as it was fun, and I just kind of stopped having fun. But, I wish those guys all the best, and it was Frankie's wish for them to continue. And I think that's great, as they should. The music, lives beyond the guys playing it. No one in the crowds that we played to at the 10,000 attendees, at biker rallies and county fairs and stuff weren't complaining or griping that, Carlos Cavazo and Rudy Sarzo and, or Drew Forsyth and Kelly Garney aren't on stage, and hey, where's Randy Rhoads? This isn't Quiet Riot. Like, it's beyond that, it's beyond, what Kevin and, even going back to Kelly Garney and Drew Forsythe and Randy Rhoads and Kevin DeBro, and, and then into the classic era, and even like the era with Chuck Wright in it, and Rudy Sarzo and Carlos Cavazo and Frankie Banali and Kevin DeBro. It's like, they made it what it is, but it's the music is beyond that at this point. It just is. It can continue, because as long as the music's good, the music's familiar, people have memories attached to the music, and they still have an ownership of the name Quiet Riot and the license, and and everything. So more power to them. I wish them all the success in the world, and as soon as they come into my area, and or my county fair or my local theater or whatever, I'm gonna go see them. I'm gonna go still support the guys, because I grew up listening to that music, and I still have my Quiet Riot cassette in the car, and my metal mask in the closet, and and all that stuff, and my tights and all that. So I still remember it fondly.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, we got a couple more questions. Obviously, well, not obviously, but everybody that's been following knows that you actually grew up with both Tourette's syndrome and, of course, Asperger's syndrome. And believe it or not, I actually have Asperger's syndrome as well. So I just want to say thank you. So I just want to say thank you very much for for support, for being on the front line for guys like me who really couldn't find a place with the normal crowds, and you were just basically you were my hero during your time on American Idol. So did you feel like it was important to represent that community who just looked for that one guy who said you can do it, don't let any obstacle stand in your way? Because I certainly didn't.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that very, very
Oh,
much.
my pleasure.
I'm going to be thinking about that all day. Thank you. Very, very humbled by that. When I went on Idol, I went there with the idea that I'm doing it for me, and for myself. But quickly I realized, like, oh my gosh, there's like a weight to the decisions I make and to what I say, and people are watching, and I finally realized that my whole childhood I was asking for somebody, for God or divine intervention, to like show me the way of somebody that is like me, so I can have like a positive influence of somebody to look to be like, they did it. They took their circumstances and just said, whatever, I'm me, this is who I am, and if I'm this way for a reason, it's to inspire people, and I can do something with this, which is what I was able to do, which is it blows my mind. Sometimes the thing that you think that you want the most is the thing that you need to become the most. And
absolutely.
And I'm just blessed and very grateful and humbled that I can be that for other people, and have been, and have heard from so many people, and it's always very, very humbling. At like 15 years old, I stopped taking my medication cold turkey, and was like, if I have Asperger's, if I have Tourette's, I have it for a reason. I need to figure out who I am, why I'm this way, why am I wired differently?
Yeah.
What can I do with it? I need to understand who I am first before I need to, make the decision whether or not I need to stay on Zoloft and Clonidine and, these medications, and really just, it was hard, and it's still hard, and there's days that suck, and but knowing that I don't know, just knowing that I've gotten to experience really, really amazing things despite it, is just, it doesn't have me. I have it, but it doesn't have me, just like you have it, but it doesn't have you. It doesn't limit you or keep you from doing this, from doing something you love that brings you happiness, that brings you closer to your dreams, and gives you a fruitful life with purpose. It's that means a lot to me, that what you said, and yeah, it's just something. It's really, really something, because I remember being down and out and being sad and crying, and why am I here? What's the point of my existence? What's the point of my life? Why do I have this? Why couldn't I?
Yeah.
I've already got big ears and have an affinity for the color orange. Why, no one likes orange. No one has big ears like me. Why do I also have to be the kid that makes sounds and is awkward and can't look at people? And why do I have to feel this way? But it's now I know why. Now I know why. And I'm okay with it. And, knowing what I know now and knowing the people whose lives have been affected by just me being able to go on American Idol and keep doing this despite my circumstances, despite my diagnosis, I'd go back and do it all over again and face the same troubles and trials and heartaches and depression and sadness and tears and self-loathing and everything. I'd go back and I'd do it all over again. Because I wouldn't trade this. I wouldn't trade it despite what I have and despite where I've been with it. I'm much better off now having it than I ever would have been without it.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, yeah, there were times when I was young, I wanted to give up because I was always wondering what's wrong with me. But I always had a great support system and my parents who, unfortunately, though, I lost my father last year. So it's hard. It's kind of hard with him not being here. But I know that he actually told me that, Brandon, I could never do what you do. And I'm like, what? Like, you get to go and interview musicians and you're fearless when you do it. I'm like, Dad, anybody can do it. He's like, not me. And he saw that I found a true purpose, not just with my day job that I have now, which I love, but that music really music along with God and Christ, it saved me. And when I found this and I realized, and when they were telling me, oh, you can't go for the big stuff, and I was just like, bullshit, I'm going to go for it.
Who says? Right, exactly.
Well, yeah, I have like
You say I can't, but I don't say I can't. I say I can.
Yeah, I mean, I had promoters and I had people above me when I first started out, especially as a college radio DJ, said, we'll get the promotion stuff. And then I let them and they didn't come through. And I was like, all right, F this. I'm going to go after them myself. And I ended up getting everything myself because I pursued it. I knew what I needed to get done. So if anything, people like you, I mean, I was already on the verge of doing it myself, but people like you gave me the extra boost. So I mean, thank you so much, James. It means a lot to me.
You got it. Likewise. I appreciate it.
All right. We got time for one more quick question, and this is a good one. Actually, it's a two-parter. So the first part is, you're stranded on a desert island. What are the 3 albums you would bring with you to keep yourself from going insane? And I know it's a tough one.
It is tough.
And mind you, it could be anything. It doesn't have to just be rock or metal. It could be anything.
What would it be?
I'll tell you what. I'll go first.
You go first. You tell me.
Okay. I would go with Foo Fighters, Wasting Light. Van Halen 1, rest in peace, Eddie. And my list always changes, but off the top of my head, got to go with Megadeth's Rust in Peace.
I definitely have to have Judas Priest. I mean, I can listen to Sad Wings of Destiny without getting tired. So maybe Sad Wings of Destiny.
That's a good one.
This always it always changes, which is why it's hard to.
I know that's the cool thing about this question. It always changes.
Oh man, maybe the White Album, because it's really 2 albums. Beatles, White Album, Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, and maybe something without music. Maybe like Charlie Brown Christmas, Vince Guaraldi Trio, or something like that, or Chopin or something.
Wow.
Chopin, something just like contemplative,
That's interesting. That's a good album. That's a great Christmas album.
It's It's a classic album. Christmas time
is here. You
It
got that.
is. It is. You know,
Yeah.
you're stranded on a desert island. Who says you can't have Christmas every couple weeks, you know?
Yeah. Charlie Brown, you blockhead. You can't pick the right tree.
Yeah,
I
I
killed
probably
it.
picked the wrong album. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, James, thank you so much. I know you probably got some more interviews coming up, but thank you for talking with Uncivil Revolt. And hey, I got to show you something really quick. We actually met before years ago, almost 10 years ago, outside the Viper Room. After you did your little thing with American Idol, you did a gig promoting your new album at the time.
Yeah, just before we went on tour.
And that's us right there. Can you see?
I can. That's crazy. I thought you looked familiar. There's my wife too.
Yeah, awesome. There's your Wi-Fi. Yeah, there's your Wi-Fi. She's like, okay, when's he done with this stuff? I want to get out of here. She wasn't really like that. She was a good sport. And by the way, are your wife and kids doing okay?
Yeah, everyone's doing great. You know, everybody's like, you know, waiting for social distance learning to end so they can go back to school. And, you know, our daughter, Kinsey, gets to see her classroom from the inside for the first time, you know, so that whenever that is, hopefully that'll be coming soon. We've had our fingers and toes crossed. We gotta be
close. We gotta be close to the threshold. Well, let's just hang on, you and me and everybody else. Let's just hang on a little longer. We're gonna get through this.
Definitely are, yeah.
Because we have to. Because I have to. I gotta see you live again.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, you know, get back to it. But this, for all intents and purposes, the last year, you know, give or take, has been it's been awesome. You know, even considering everything, and we've had a really successful 2020, despite everything. You know, we didn't let it. You know, we took it like a diagnosis. Were we going to let it just rule us and control us, or were we going to just say, okay, these are new circumstances. Let's figure it out. Let's get through it. Let's do our best. We spent a lot of time together, you know, and it's been great. I love being able to be here and kiss my kids every night and tell them how much I love them and do it all again the next day.
Yeah, I get to when I come home from work, I get to hug my mom, and she and I really look out for each other because it's really me and her and me in the house now. I'm actually learning to cook with her, so we're actually getting a lot closer now. I mean, there are times where we will butt heads because you know difference of opinions, but you know overall, just being with her though, especially with my dad being gone, we definitely needed each other, me and her.
Definitely, a lot of people don't have the luxury of, you know, getting to see their moms or their parents or grandparents or anything for the last year. So it's you know, definitely consider ourselves lucky in that sense.
Yeah. Plus, rent down in Southern California is a joke. So
yes, it's it's brutal. It's a lot cheaper to buy.
Yeah, it kind of is. I'm saving my money for hopefully a house one day, so I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. So to Uncivil Revolt, this was James Durbin, and go get his new album this February, The Beast Awakens, which features Chris Jericho and Phil Demmel. I cannot wait for the people to hear this. James, you stay safe. You get down to Southern California with the show, and you and I are going to have ourselves a drink and toast to each other's success, both mentally and career-wise.
Awesome. You got it. You got yourself a deal, Brandon. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.